welcome back to another episode of the Omnichannel Marketer. This is your host, Kate Stevens. Today, I'm joined by Jacob Zuppke, the president and CEO of Whisker. Hey, Jacob, how are you?
Doing well. Thank you for having me today. I'm excited to be here.
Excited to have you. So, Jacob, why don't we just start with your personal story and background? How did you get to where you are at Whisker?
Yeah, so I'm a marketer by trade who fell into entrepreneurship early in my life and didn't realize that I was a marketer until later in my life. Started a bunch of small businesses when I was in high school, from my bagel delivery route right when I turned 16 to power washing after I graduated high school to a company called Oi What a Deal, which was a Groupon niche for rooted in the Jewish community in Metro Detroit, to then starting a what grew to be a sizable ad agency with 20 employees and right out of college, and clients of all different types, and learned very quickly that my passion was really rooted in being on the brand side and truly being able to be end to end with a client. In that case, finding a lot of interest in my clients' businesses and understanding them and understanding what else clicked outside of marketing. And so when I ended up at Whisker, I'd sold my interest in traffic at the beginning of 2015. And as I was figuring out what I wanted to do next, I came across Whisker through a contact that I had known for several years. And when I came in to meet with the founder, Brad and I really hit it off jokingly, kind of like a date. But I accidentally left my wallet there, and I had to meet Brad up after to go pick my wallet up. And I think kind of the story starts there, but joined as an individual contributor and as a head of marketing and business development, and started to understand more about the business. And in 2017, after a really good first 2 years of growth, I had personally missed a bonus target only because we couldn't ship out what we had sold. And it was a challenge Brad had given me to hit what seemed like an unrealistic number, and we had exceeded it, but we couldn't ship our product out the door. So I took over operations organically so that I would never be in that position again. So going into 2018, my role went from marketing and business development and international to then operations to engineering, and really involving myself in the growth of the company across every department, and informally taking a head of operations for the whole organization role. And then more formally in 2018 and 19, taking those roles with the title and evolving my role to where I am today. So I've been very fortunate to play almost every role in the company. I was employee 25, and now we have about 575 full-time employed people here at Whisker across our manufacturing and our general company operations. And I've been very fortunate to have my hands in a lot of pieces, and that's also allowed me to get hands-on in different departments, taken probably over 1,000 customer calls over the last 8.5 years, to being in our operations last Q4 every Monday at our plant when we were really scaling up, to leading a factory expansion, to building out a leadership team. And I feel very privileged to have been able to support the organization's growth through all these years and have my hands in so many different areas.
That's so much fun. I don't know that I appreciated kind of the scale of Whisker. For our, audience's benefit, what is Whisker? What's kind of the problem that you're solving, and who are your customers?
Yeah, so Whisker, formerly known as Automated Pet Care Products, started really as the litter robot, which is the number one self-cleaning litter box for cats. Brad, our founder, who is still our chairman and chief inventor, Brad had the personal chore of scooping the litter box with two cats, and realized very quickly that, one, he wasn't great at following through on it, and two, it had to be automated. In 1999, he set out to do that, and in 2000, he brought the first litter robot to market. Since then, we've continued to iterate on the litter robot platform, now in our fourth generation, Litter Robot 4, which is, again, the highest rated self-cleaning litter box for cats. In 2021, we introduced the feeder robot, which is a automatic feeder for cats and dogs. I like to jokingly say that I haven't fed my dog in about 4 years. The feeder has done it for me. And then we also have some really great high-end accessories, from what we call as kind of our modern furniture line, to bring what we think is aesthetically better and functionally better furniture pieces for pet parents, to our high-end accessories like our odor trap line that we formulated with a chemist to neutralize the ammonia smell in cat urine, to all different sorts of accessories. So Whisker is a company dedicated to making high-end pet products that solve chores in the household and that bring a refined level of accessory to the pet parent.
So, as a dog owner, I, see definitely the pain point that you're solving there. Literally the worst at remembering to feed her, which is terrible. Talk to me about where Whisker started from a channel perspective. So,
Yeah,
title of this podcast is the Omnichannel Marketer. Curious where you started first, and then, how channel expansion has evolved from there.
Yeah, so being a larger product and being in a category that didn't really exist before the litter robot in the way that we are, which is the premium litter box space, we had to really shape the future of the category. And if you use Google Trends or something like that, and I'll come back to your question, but I think this is relevant. If you use Google Trends and you look at the difference between the volume of searches for self-cleaning litter box and automatic litter box versus our brand litter robot, you'll see in about 2015 when we started to really accelerate our advertising that the difference is litter robot takes off. And there's a direct correlation for 8.5 years of our marketing spend with our branded search volume. And that's far greater than the category search volume. So the analogy I would use would be Peloton, I think in more recent years, or Nest thermostat. Nobody was seeking a smart thermostat when Nest came out, and Nest had to build all the brand awareness to create the category that now exists. And the same could be said about Peloton, with nobody was seeking a smart bike at the time of Peloton really coming to market, and Peloton had to create that category, which for us brands in that category defining niche is a lot of awareness. When you think about the role of the retailer in creating awareness, where the retailer can really be a great partner is demonstration of product. Well, very few retailers back when Brad started the company wanted to demonstrate a $400 litter box at the time. They didn't want to give it the floor space. They weren't interested in trying to build a category around that. And so that limited us to e-commerce. So fortunately, and at the time felt unfortunate, but in hindsight, a blessing, we were e-commerce from 2000 onward. So when I joined the company in 2015, we were, a meaningful e-commerce brand. We were about 70% at the time, I think, direct, and about 30% Amazon. And as we kept shaping the future of our own destination and where we were heading, we decided that we wanted to do that through D2C, and we wanted to take the chance that maybe Amazon was cannibalizing our direct at the time. So we actually pulled out of Amazon in March of 2018, I believe it was. And we had just paused Amazon at the end of February and went into March, taking a bet that we could do this without Amazon and that we would spend those additional dollars towards awareness. And I remember watching it very closely at the time. Our revenue didn't drop, our total revenue. What we found at the time is that a lot of shoppers who had the choice between direct.com and other retailer, that they were willing to shop with direct.com, and that was about the time of the D2C boom. And so we decided for the next couple of years that we were going to do this as a D2C retailer and focus on that. And we really did. And we had a really few good, great growth years. But about 2020, as the world changed very quickly and D2C definitely shifted, we found that our attention was everywhere at this point. Now, at the same time, we had created so much category awareness and brand awareness around the litter robot and more generally self-cleaning litter boxes that people were now searching for self-cleaning litter boxes in greater volumes, and that we needed to be there as the number one choice. So in 2020, 2021, we ended up going back on to several retailers, but starting with Amazon and Chewy. And in more recent years, we've now expanded to PetSmart, but we're in store in 50 locations, expanding very quickly in January to many more. With an end cap display that's beautiful and beautifully presented. And PetSmart has been an awesome partner in kickstarting our in-store scale. We did this as well with Hollywood Feed over the last few years, more of a regional retailer who's expanding. Hollywood Feed, formerly Pet People, has been a great partner for us. And they allowed us to build a full wall kiosk that we could merchandise the litter robot in a way that told our story. And then from there, we have now expanded into Best Buy and we've expanded internationally into other retailers as well. So our omni-channel growth is really exciting. It's a big part of how we envision our future. We believe that it needs to be done both in parallel to in-store as well as online. We don't want to be in a position where it's just an online scale because we don't believe that that's best for the Whisker brand and its products. But we do believe that omni-channel in-store and omni-channel online together is a really good catalyst to continued growth for the Whisker brand and where we're heading.
As you expand into retail, how do you need to, what are you thinking about differently? It sounds like merchandising and kind of that end cap, telling the story in store. So as you move into retail, both online and digitally, what are some of the things that you need to think about differently as a marketer?
Great question. I think online it's the online merchandising. So we had made some pivots with Chewy at the beginning of this year when we introduced the Litter Robot 4 on Chewy, and our sales meaningfully grew. In our ability to tell our story, our ability to get the right photography and video on site, the Litter Robot is a product that does require some awareness. It's a premium automatic litter box experience priced at $699 for the Litter Robot 4 and $549 for the Litter Robot 3 Connect. It's not an inexpensive appliance, but consumers buy it because we proudly stand behind it, and that they know that when they're buying from Whisker, you are getting a lifetime of care. We have been around for 23 years. We make the product in America. We have a team of over 80 professionals in our customer experience organization here in America, and we stand behind what we sell. And I think when you're considering an appliance like that, the same way you'd be considering a dishwasher or another product, you need to be able to tell that full story. And we do that very well in D2C. And so when we look at omni-channel retail, I think being able to tell that story in a way that doesn't take away from the journey that you're able to give the user on your website, try and recreate that as best as possible in omni-channel. I think for in-store, it's the same thing. The Litter Robot is not a product that necessarily you will pick up and walk out with the same day. It does take a story. Well, fortunately at PetSmart, we're telling that story. Fortunately, Hollywood Feed, we're telling that story. And with other retailers that we're currently exploring with, we're telling that story beautifully well through our product packaging, through the end kiosk display, through the video we have in store, or through the talking heads that we have right there in terms of the flyers and the various other ways that we communicate with our consumer at point of sale. It gives us an opportunity to tell that story meaningfully. And that's one of the things we've been seeking out of partnerships as we look to go into in-store retail.
So you started out a lot of your career on the ad side. And I think that, as a digitally native company, which, you guys really started as, that's really bread and butter to, driving that initial traffic. How do you think about ad spend and marketing now translating to supporting retail? Or is that something that's kind of playing into the way that you think about your marketing?
Yeah, it definitely is. I think right now our focus has still been high funnel awareness, and that's where we spend the majority of our dollars. And so when you think about how that impacts the consumer funnel, we might spend on TV, we spend a meaningful amount of our ad dollars on television. At that point, while we may list litterrobot.com as their destination, many people go to Google and search for Litter Robot, and that allows them to go and find our product in various locations. And I think if the consumer prefers to shop at Best Buy, we need to be at Best Buy. If the consumer prefers PetSmart, we need to be at PetSmart. But we need not to sacrifice our content in any way just because it's not our own .com. And I think working with these retail partners has truly been a great experience in partnering together to tell our story. And, we were very fortunate to be part of, the recent Best Buy storytelling event that they had for a lot of their merchants across the company. I think that we have been able to truly partner with a lot of these brands to tell a story in a way that's to tell the story in a way that it aligns with our brand message and it aligns with who we are. And I think we've learned what sells well on our own D2C. And so harnessing those insights and using that elsewhere, I think is really important. I think in terms of ad dollars, it's in-channel ad dollars. on Amazon. We spend on Amazon to make sure that we're capitalizing on people in market for an automatic litter box or people seeking Litter Robot, our product. I think the same could be said for Chewy or PetSmart or Best Buy and any other future retailers that we partner with. We want to make sure that we're growing our high funnel awareness on those marketplaces, as well as the inbound searcher seeking specifically a automatic litter box or something comparable. It allows us to go after people that are seeking a solution that we can match with the litter robot, or they're seeking a problem like UTIs in their cat, and we're able to deliver a solution that aligns with the issue that they're having.
Makes complete sense. When you and I originally met, Jacob, it was at eTail, and you were talking about how, and you just referenced this briefly, that TV commercials have been a really good channel. And I think I recall you mentioning almost like an arbitrage that occurred, or when you were really doubling down on TV and commercial. Can you kind of speak to that and how that played into your strategy?
Sure. At the end of 2019, we in-house produced a commercial called "Don't Be a Scooper," and it was kind of a breakthrough moment for our company. One, it was a lot of fun, and I encourage any marketers out there to read the book From Poop to Gold, written by the Harmon brothers. I had started working on a retreat idea that I had to take our creative team on a retreat and go write a commercial and just have fun and make it a thing. And then I read this book, and oddly enough, it's part of their process that they use. And even though I had already been thinking about it, it had gotten validated by this group that I followed and that I really respected, and how they approached their problem solving for writing commercials. And so we did it in a unique way. I put together a framework that we all had homework before this creative retreat, and we went at it and we wrote a commercial. And the outcome of that was Don't Be a Scooper. And Don't Be a Scooper launched in October of 2019, leading into, holiday sales. And we just accelerated like we had never seen before. And we cut that commercial to be both friendly for digital and friendly for TV. End of March of 2020, we had our first dip in a few years in sales because the uncertainty of COVID. With that uncertainty came a lot of advertisers pulling out of television, pulling out of advertising in general. And we said at that time that we were going to double down on advertising and try and reach new eyeballs and reach new people as advertising rates dropped. Because we're made in America, because we were able to keep building product, of course, safely with new guidances in place for how we ensure that we're keeping our team safe, we were able to keep delivering as the world faced supply chain challenges. We were able to keep delivering in our American operations. And so we doubled down on advertising, and we doubled down on TV, and then we tripled down and quadrupled down that same year. So we kept scaling up our TV spend, and we weren't yet hooked on the meta bug of cheap clicks. We had never really get scaled at that level with it. So then we started on Meta towards the end of that year. I would say we were already spending there, but we grew more significantly. And we were using our Don't Be a Scooper template to really apply to all video. And that worked tremendously for almost 2 years. And then at the end of 21, we started to see a diminishing return, and we pivoted to Meta. And we started to spend more on Meta. Then we started to scale up on YouTube and other video platforms, which is not the cheap way of doing it. At least it wasn't at the time for us, because there was a lot in awareness. But it also, how we kind of talk about it today, is we have to educate tomorrow's customer today if we want tomorrow's customer. And so we have to go about educating through video and other mediums to make sure that we're able to build the future awareness for Litter Robot, and then more generally for self-cleaning litter boxes in general, and getting people from the regular litter box chore to a great solution like Litter Robot, or Litter Robot Force more specifically. And I think video in general is a great way of doing that.
And so transitioning to today, as omni-channel expansion is really important. It feels like you've at multiple different points of the business pivoted where your spend was going based off of what was the most attractive channel at that time. Where are you guys investing right now? What's working? How are you supporting kind of the omni-channel side as well?
So we just launched our new commercial last week. It's a lot of fun. We have 8-year-olds telling our story in kid language about how the litter robot works and how they want one for their household. And it's really cute. They're themed at a birthday party, and we shot that specifically for television. So it's a way of telling our story across TV. And so we are ramping up our TV spend considerably. In addition, we're putting this out on all video networks. So from YouTube, it doesn't perform as well on the Meta network only because it's not designed for paid social. It's more of a storytelling moment than I would say a paid social vignette where you're more quick acting and quick facts. And so we are primarily focused for this with TV, YouTube, and other video, networks that allow us to tell our story. And then in parallel to that, we are ramping up in paid social and other platforms as well, but with different type of content that better lends itself to those specific platforms, which would lead me to say that we're going through our own evolve as a business right now. And we are really trying to design content specific to each channel, which of course is what many great brands are doing right now. And we're doing just the same. We're realizing that what we produce for TikTok may not work well for Instagram, which may not work well for Facebook, which may not work well for YouTube. And ultimately our TV spots aren't performing in these other areas. So we're more intentional about the content that we're creating and where that content's going to live.
As you think about your omni-channel expansion, your retail expansion, I know that you mentioned the importance of storytelling and kind of that pre-purchase environment. How do you think about that end-to-end customer experience and maintaining that now through retail, across all of these channels that you're selling through?
I think our mobile app is a really unique opportunity. So we had just publicly stated last week that we now have about 800,000 users of our mobile app. And so it really provides an opportunity to stay connected with the consumer. So I think for all the Whisker customers listening, look out for 2024 because there's a lot of really exciting in-app changes coming that will positively evolve the experience. Things such as anomaly detection, where we're able to better tell the pet parent what's going on with their pet. Because we do have the data around the infrequency or the overfrequency or the duration change in each visit in which the cat goes to the bathroom. We're able to now measure the weight of the cat. And so using our new tool called Smart Scale, we know each cat in the household, as long as they're 1 pound apart, we know each pet in the household and ultimately how that is using the litter box. And we're able to start modeling. So some of the exciting changes that we have coming are really around the end-to-end experience of you might have bought your litter robot years ago, but you're still getting new features often. And I think for our Litter Robot 3 customers out there, we're still making firmware changes. We're still making positive changes to the app experience for them. Just because they bought a product in 2017 doesn't mean they shouldn't be treated as if they just bought it today. And we really do care about that end-to-end experience and making sure we deliver for these individuals who make an investment in Whisker. We want to deliver for them today and tomorrow. And I firmly believe that if we can deliver for our older customers, it's the same reason they're going to want to come back and buy our new technology. And as an Apple user myself, I will say this is probably the first time I'm upgrading to a new iPhone only 1 gen later. And it's because Apple's continue to deliver for me. I've been so impressed with some of the new AirPod changes that they've made. I bought the new AirPods. I bought the new iPhone 15. I'm excited to get it. And that even though it was a small product feature in the camera change for me, having young kids at home, that was super important to me. And so it's something that I was willing to upgrade. And I think I use that in our own product thinking is how do we deliver for the customer who's been with us for a while? And it's through service, it's through reputability and our warranty and standing behind it. It's through new feature development. And it's, in our case right now, absolutely a software experience. I think that's a big part of how we can deliver on the end-to-end experience. And that affects every user, regardless of where they buy it. So they could buy on Best Buy and get the same great app experience as they can buying from us.
One of the things I like to ask all of our guests is about something that they feel, passionately or, boldly about. Would love to hear what that is for you.
I think for me, it's product innovation. I think that we're in a category right now where, as the leader in the category, oftentimes you are followed. And I think for us, it's seeing ourselves as our biggest competitor and trying to build the next best version of our own products so that when we come out with it, it renders the last one not as good only because the new one is so good. And I think that I would love to be surrounded by other people who thought that same way in our category. And I think that ultimately it's our goal to make sure that we continue delivering on product innovation. And I think that others who do that challenge us to move faster and smarter and better. And I think that the pet parent absolutely deserves that. And for us, part of that product innovation is American manufacturing. I think that our ability to make a change and implement it right away into our manufacturing is super important to us. And it's something that's been near and dear to our ability to scale at the rate that we have. And over the last 3 years, we've invested $13 million into our manufacturing plant in Wisconsin so that we can stay ahead of the curve. That when we roll out a new robot, we're ready. When we roll out a new feature, it can be implemented in the line. When we want to make a process optimization that delivers on behalf of getting it faster to our customer, we can do that all in-house. So I think it all comes back to product innovation. And I think for us, that's near and dear to who we are. Our team of 55 engineers is working on shaping the future of pet care, and we want to make sure we can keep delivering for our pet parents.
Makes complete sense. Moving into our final segment, our lightning round. So, just quick questions, quick answers. Favorite omni-channel brand?
I have to say Apple. I think they've done a great job with building their own retail experience and retail experiences with all other retail partners.
They really have. What is the thing that you wish you could change about our industry?
I think deeper omni-channel collaboration with the respective partners that you're working with and shaping how you show up in omni-channel has been something that we've worked hard on and have taken omni-channel slower because
Favorite podcast?
how I built this.
It's classic. Favorite newsletter?
Adweek,
Favorite social media channel?
LinkedIn.
Also a big LinkedIn fan. Favorite book?
Currently reading the Elon Musk book, and I am just fascinated by it. It's probably the best business book I've ever read. I
Really?
think that it's just incredible. And I was on the plane reading it, laughing out loud. I felt very awkward because I was bursting into laughter. I just started it. I'm almost done. It's definitely a big read. So it's taken me about 2 weeks just with my current schedule. But
And then any event that you're excited about going to in the near future?
not in the near future, but I will say that I've really looked forward to the PayPal C360 event in the last few years. We were fortunate to be invited to that as a deep partnership with PayPal that we have here at Whisker. That's probably been one of the coolest events I've ever been invited to. So that's not till next year. We just went, and I think it was April, but it's
Okay.
definitely a really cool event.
Awesome. And Jacob, where could people connect with you?
On LinkedIn or by my email. I respond to every email that I get, and it's probably one of my flaws in that it takes up quite a bit of time, but it's also a superpower. I get to learn a ton through it. Even if I respond by saying not interested to someone trying to sell us something, I do respond to every email. Jacob@whisker.com. My email is very public. I am all over Reddit as Cat Poop Man. And on LinkedIn, I am very active on LinkedIn.
Amazing. Jacob, thank you so much for telling your story and the Whisker story. It was great to chat with you.
Yeah, and for anybody that is listening that is not in front of their computer, catpoop.com. It'll redirect you to our main website.
If you liked this podcast, follow me and the Bridge page on LinkedIn and Twitter for hot takes and tactical advice. If you really loved today's episode, we'd love a review on the podcasting platform of your choice, Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Thanks for listening.